Welcome to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. If you would like to support this channel, please hit the like button and consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. And now, let's start with the first story. It's called Stupid Tax. A cheeseburger was 25 cents more than a hamburger at the fast food restaurant where I worked back in the day. Eventually, I got tired of being yelled at for correcting/explaining that what people really wanted was a hamburger. This happened multiple times a month, mind you. I wasn't getting paid enough to stupid-proof hangry people's fast food orders, so I started ringing them up exactly the way they ordered. At first, I'd ring them up for a hamburger, cause I knew that's what they meant. But I got chewed out by someone who read their receipt, so no more going out of my way to save people from their self-inflicted stupid tax. The first time I rang up cheeseburger, no cheese, the cook came up to tell me I rang it up wrong. I just said, that's how she ordered. My dad on the inside tone said all that I could not express in mere words, and the kitchen employees caught on right away. They never questioned the orders rung up that way again. It was a win-win. I didn't have to get yelled at for trying to save people money, and the restaurant made an extra $1.50 every month from customers ordering cheeseburgers with no cheese. I don't mean to brag, but sometimes the restaurant made a whole extra $2 a month thanks to me. It was a little thing, and petty, but it made my retail very hard a little glad. The next story is called Cinema Policy. I and my partner were going to see a movie and wanted some of the best seats. However, since we hadn't been in the cinema before 2020 hit, they had changed their booking rules. So now you can never leave a single seat between you and someone else when booking. I get it. Single seats are tougher to sell, but there were no exceptions to this rule. The seats were sporadically booked, leaving only 3 open seats near the middle, best spots, and 5 on the outermost side near the stairs where everyone would be going past you. We couldn't book 2 of the 3 seats, as that would break their rule, and I didn't want to sit and look to one side for the next 3 hours. There seemed to be no way to circumvent the rule during the booking process, but then I got an idea. What was their refund policy? Bingo! As long as you cancel the seats 24 hours before the movie, you can get a full refund. So I booked all 3 seats and entered a discount code, giving me 30% off that ended up saving me the price of a seat. I then went down to the cinema. I had to go near them and get groceries anyway, and talk to the staff. They refunded me the seat I didn't need with no hassle. So in the end, we got to see the movie with the seats we wanted, and I only ended up paying for one of them. The third story is called Weekend Work. I worked as an inspection specialist for a large flying machine factory in the Seattle area. Bosses decided that they didn't want us to be on site on the weekend just in case we were needed. It was easy overtime for the most part, because normally it was some routine easy stuff for 16 hours of overtime pay. After they announced the new policy, the team got together and agreed that if any of us got called in on a weekend, we would refuse to come in. The first Saturday after the new policy was installed, we had all planned on getting together to have some beers and barbecue. This was prior to personal cell phones. The phone rings at our host's house, and it's our supervisor. She asks if the host can come in to do an inspection on one of the large flying machines due to be delivered the following week. When we make a delivery, the company gets paid for the flying machine. He tells her no, he is far too intoxicated to perform that kind of work, let alone drive in. She asks if she knows where one of our colleagues might be, and he tells her he's right here. Colleague tells her the same thing, and the process repeats until she has gotten to everyone who worked in our lab. Then we all got called at home on that Sunday as well with the same results. Not a lot they can do, since we are not on the clock. Now, these flying machines will have a crew of several mechanics and QA people assigned to this particular machine. They literally have nothing to do without the results of our testing. The mechanics and QA were paid more than us, and they were drawing overtime just sitting there. Not to mention a multi-million-dollar flying machine sitting there, unable to be delivered to the buyer until the work is completed. Monday rolls around, and first thing in the morning, one of us goes out and knocks the job off in about half an hour, and everything's right in the world. Tuesday morning, our management is asking us to put together an overtime schedule, effective the following weekend. Apparently, someone higher up told them that burning $1 to save a penny wasn't working. Their no more weekend overtime policy lasted literally 1 weekend. The last story is called What You Asked For. This took place decades ago, when changing a disk drive involved dip switches and hours of work. It was my first job out of the armed services and about 6 months in, just when I'd gotten my feet wet. The system in question was a mid-range computer with 4 enormous 500 MB disk drives, 70 pounds of storage, already discontinued and available in refurbished only. The customer has contracted for hardware support directly, and the system is down with a crashed drive. I drive for 2 hours to the customer's side and get a message from our loud sales switch, LSW. She conferences with my manager, DJ, and starts complaining that the customer was down and no one was keeping her informed. Well, customer service, the people in the cubes in front of your office, are supposed to pass on updates, but we'll listen. After listening to why this customer is going to drop our contract for poor service and it's our fault for not keeping her informed, she announces that she has to leave early today, but to call her at home when the system is restored to service. It was just after 1 PM. We all hang and I wait for another hour before the field service finally shows up. In the 80s, changing a disk drive meant setting up dip switches and formatting to a controller, 6 hours. Then initializing the new disk for 2 hours. Then restoring from tape, 2 hours. Restoring transaction files, another hour. And finally, a cold reboot to make sure everything was back in service. A down customer was automatically approved overtime. While all this was going on, I had a nice expense account dinner, then picked up some movies at the local video store to play in the customer's training room. Finally, the system reboot was completed at 2:40 AM. Before I started the drive home, I had a final task I'd been looking forward to. The first time I dialed, the answering machine picked up. Since this was a very important call, I hung up and redialed. Is loud sales switch there? This is from work. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. You asked me to call you at home when the customer was back in service. The system was just rebooted. She took a deep breath. Did you call DJ? What did he have to say? I just left him a voicemail at work. He doesn't need a call if things are going to be running when the customer gets in. Longer pause. Have a good night. About a month later, West Coast sales manager comes to town and I invited myself to lunch with him. We are tearing into lunch and... So, you talked to loud sales switch lately? Loud laughter. Turns out he talked her down. You asked to be called. You went to bed without checking in. Did you stop to think about what would happen or ask how long repairs would take? You got exactly what you asked for. And with that, we end today's video. Let me know what you think about the stories. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the stories and today's video? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what I do and want to support me, please subscribe and hit the like button. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.